is David Leon, age 26. I've lived and grown up here in Tucson all my life. I joined the Brown Berets back in 2010. I have been a victim of harassment and assault and battery of multiple individuals targeting me specifically for my race and ethnicity and my beliefs. I've had at least 4 direct encounters with these individuals threatening my life directly. All times I have identified these individuals and reported them to the police authorities, TPD specifically, or Sheriff's Department. There's been 2 instances where the court process was actually gone through, and 2 of these individuals were convicted of a crime against me, the victim. The other 2 basically got away free, and even then the 2 perpetrators that were caught got a slap on the wrist. The most recent being an individual wearing a Maga, red Maga hat that came and repeatedly harassed my family here at this home. As my grandfather stated earlier, there was multiple opportunities for this person to avoid the house or this general area, but this individual continued to come by and harass my grandfather and my grandmother and my uncle as well. It happened to be one day before I went into work. I was loading some stuff from my truck actually into the room here, and this individual, this older gentleman with that Maga hat, repeatedly circled the area and was watching me. At the time, I did have my 9mm holstered, and I was not afraid to show that. I had it on me for protection, and because I've been through so many issues, you know, I do, to an extent, feel like I do have PTSD. My main priority is supporting my family and making sure no harm comes to them or myself, you know, especially because I do have a family to provide for. During this instance, the individual was screaming out of his window, as well as his dogs barking out of the window, that he was going to call U.S. Border Patrol on me and have me deported. It took 3 calls for the Sheriff's Department to come out to the scene. I had to stay here and miss work so that I could talk to these officers. These officers did investigate and discovered that he lived about 2 or 3 streets down, and identified him directly by his plates. As I said earlier, this is one of the individuals who went to court for the crimes that he committed. He was harassing me and threatening me. What ended up happening is he got a year of probation, very lenient, and as I said in court, I believe that if it was me that had committed the crime, that it would have been a more serious allegation to begin with, and punishment as well. So I felt like the system had failed me at this point in time. You know, I can't speak directly for the officers. I do know the one that I talked to directly showed up in court and was questioned by, you know, his fellow officers and the court system, and as if they did not take his word or believe him as well, or maybe even didn't think it was as severe as it was. The individual claimed to be doing his civic duty, which is something that we see a lot these days, more of as an excuse to act aggressively against certain groups of people, myself included. You know, we identify as Chicano, Mexican American, and Native American in our family, and we are not afraid to show that. You know, we are the original inhabitants of this continent, and we're gonna stay here. This is our home.
So, why do you think this household has been targeted?
You know, it's no secret that, you know, we invite our friends and family from the community to gather here. You know, a lot of things that are politically charged that we are involved in, you know, they're very obvious. You know, we do have signs here supporting the community and their struggles directly. A lot of people don't take kindly to that, and they react towards that. Unjustly, of course. Everybody has, their opinion and they're entitled to it. The way that they react or feel like they need to act on that feeling is a different story.
So what is the makeup of the neighborhood, ethnically speaking?
So since I grew up here, I remember the majority of this community being Mexican American and Native American. A lot of people here speak nothing but Spanish or broken English. And it's never been an issue before until recently. The political climate has changed drastically, and it's given people an excuse to act aggressively.
So you believe that this household was targeted particularly because of the activism involved?
The activism and racism. I believe that my grandfather was targeted for the way that he looks, and myself included. We do display the Mexican flag,
and
the American flag as well. We display the Virgen de Guadalupe. We have our own beliefs and systems.
When was your first memory of harassment or...
My first memory of direct harassment was an individual named Roy Warden, who some people may know as burning the Mexican flag.
Roy Warden, yes.
As a Brown Beret and a community activist at a very young age, as a juvenile, we were extremely active and outgoing. And I remember specifically this protest that took place at City Hall. And Roy Warden was going around threatening everybody, but he saw me with the Virgen of Guadalupe on my face, bandana that I was wearing on my face. He said these words: "Take that fucking bitch off of your face." And being younger at the time, I was very insulted by that, and I stiffened up, and I did feel like I needed to assert my position. However, I did not. I stood my ground. I did not move. This individual was in my face, maybe 2 feet away. He threatened to go back to his car and retrieve his weapon and blow my head off. These words were stated directly in front of 2 bicycle officers from TPD who were there supposedly watching over the situation, and they did nothing. Roy Warden left to his vehicle, came back with his weapon, and these officers still did nothing. He put his hand on his weapon, and at that point they realized that they had to step in, otherwise blood could be shed and it would be on their watch. All they did was take him aside and tell him that he needed to put away his weapon. And so he didn't do that, and he continued to stay harassing people in this area. This is one of my earliest memories of this type of harassment.
How old were you?
I want to say I was maybe 13 years old, 13 or 14 years old.
Yeah.